It's quick spin, bitches. That's what RJ said in his last video, and I stole it. But it is quick spin, so that means we better get started quickly. Today, I'll be talking about The Next Day by David Bowie.
Valentine told me who's to go.
Out in 2013. It was his first album in 10 years since his last release, Reality. I don't know what was going on in those 10 years. From 2003 to 2013, I don't know what he was doing. I was not a David Bowie fan at the time, so I didn't even realize that there was David Bowie missing, because up until that point the only music that I'd known were like his greatest hits. But apparently The Next Day came out and was very well received for the most part. A lot of people said that it was too condensed, it kind of didn't, it was hard to like breathe, I guess, which I could kind of understand listening to this album. But I have the CD and I have some singles and the vinyl of the full release of the album. But I love the cover. RJ and I have had a debate about whether the cover is good or not. Basically, it's the back, the picture behind it is the Heroes album cover, very famous David Bowie cover, very famous David Bowie album in general. And I love the imagery of like just putting, it's that album with just a white blank space over it that just says The Next Day. I think it's, and it's on the back too, it's like the original Heroes track listing covered up with The Next Day track listing. And at first I was like, well, it's kind of ugly because it's just a blank, it's just a white cube over top of the other album. But the more that I've looked at it, the more I'm like, this is a great imagery, because it's almost like as if he's saying like, it's not Heroes. He's like, you know, because every time a David Bowie album comes out, it's always, well, it's not as good as this, or it's his best album since this, or like, yeah, it's good, but it's no Heroes. And so I think this is really a powerful statement, you know, because he's trying to not distance himself, but say that this is something different. And I think it's a very powerful image. When you open it up, you got some things. And then you open it up again, and there's Bowie and the CD with just the like, cover on it, basically. And it also came with an insert that is a poster, but also production credits on the front, and then lyrics on the back. Excuse me. And I just think, as I listen to it, like, I just think it's such a good album. You know, it's such a good album for 2013. There's some really great, in my opinion, great David Bowie songs on the album. The Stars Are Out Tonight, Love Is Lost, Where Are We Now, Valentine's Day, and I'd Rather Be High, which are basically in order. If You Can See Me is not a very good, it's a good song, but it's, you know, it ruins that that translation. But The Stars Are Out Tonight, Love Is Lost, Where Are We Now, Valentine's Day, what a great succession of songs. And they had music videos for those songs as well. They're great music videos, classic David Bowie music videos, even though they're only 3 years old now. So I looked, and there are singles, 7-inch and 10-inch vinyls. The first one I've got is Valentine's Day, which is just a great David Bowie song. Just a great song in general. And on the front, it's like in a plastic, because it's a picture disc, so it's in like a picture disc sleeve. But on the front, carved into the white, are the lyrics to the song. And then the picture disc is double-sided, because the side B is Plan, which I don't know. I haven't heard the song. It's not on the album, unless it's on like the bonus features. But it's the hands from the Heroes album cover, and what, you know, also We Know The Next Day album cover. I picked it up for about $8 on Amazon before, and this was before he died, so it's probably not available anymore. But this is a great thing. I'm actually framing this to go like right here under what will eventually be a Black Star poster. Then we got The Stars Are Out Tonight, another great song. It's a great single, and the B-side on this is Where Are We Now, which is fucking great. A beautiful, beautiful song. If I remember correctly, this is on white vinyl, yes. That has the Next Day square. And if I can find the opening, there it is. It is on white vinyl. Now this is a great song. I love this song. Probably one of my favorites. Probably I don't know. They're all my favorite on the album. But this is a great single, great promotional single hit song. Next is Love Is Lost, but this is the Hello by James Reich remix, or James Murphy, excuse me. Hello Steve Reich mix by James Murphy for the DFA. This on the front is like it's lyrics, but not a complete set of lyrics. And then on the back is the B side is I'd Rather Be High, which is another great song. It has like an embossed in white on white embossing of the title. This is a remix of Love Is Lost, which I actually heard first and actually prefer. It's a great song. The remix is great. I think the original version is good, but I think the remix just adds a certain level of intensity, and it just sounds so good. It's such a great single. And then when I got the vinyl of The Next Day, it also came with a promo CD of the entire album, which I thought was a neat touch. But overall, I would say that The Next Day by David Bowie is a great album, especially if you're a David Bowie fan. Like, you're going to like the album. If you're not a David Bowie fan, I think there is some accessibility issues with it, because some of the songs are very David Bowie. They're strange, unique, and great songs. The Next Day is probably one of my favorite David Bowie albums. My favorite is definitely Black Star. Tragically sad, beautiful album. But The Next Day is probably up in the top 3 at least. It's a great album. I love this album. And it's interesting to know like the history of it. It's his first album in 10 years, and just all of a sudden it comes out one day, and there he had all the people that were recording it sign non-disclosure agreements. It was a very secretive album, and then it was just there, and it shot to the top of the charts, and it was a great album. And it got him started back into music again, and so I think The Next Day definitely has a place in his discography, and it should have a place in your collection if it was up to me. So highly recommend The Next Day if you can get your hands on it now, because I'm sure it's hard to get right now, at least after Bowie's passing. I would highly recommend picking it up. It's a great album, must have for your collection, honestly. That'll do it for this Records Quick Spin. Wave goodbye to a life without pain. So spend your beautiful